What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take on a Wednesday. Max Kellerman, Molly Karen Rose here with you. Stephen A. Smith. How we feeling, gentlemen?
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's up, y'all? Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good. So you heard where we're starting.
Lots to get into.
Yes, no question. And the Get Up crew did a great job with a lot of the information. But just to reiterate, after 3 years of training, all eyes will be on Colin Kaepernick on the field. All NFL teams were informed that a private workout will be held for Kaepernick on Saturday in Atlanta, according to a copy of the memo obtained by ESPN. Stephen A., so NFL teams will get another look at him. Talk to me.
Here's the deal. I've been told that Colin Kaepernick, he'd have to throw the ball into the stands and play like complete garbage, or run his mouth incessantly, whether it be via Instagram, Twitter, or whatever. Really, really speaking out, being vigilant, being rebellious or whatever the case may be, in order for him not to have a job in the NFL within the next week or two. Obviously, that raised an eyebrow, because here's what everybody needs to understand. This is an NFL workout. Colin Kaepernick is an unrestricted free agent. Teams are free to bring him in anytime they damn well please. The fact that this is a league-organized thing is what has everybody up in arms, because this is not how things go down. The way that things go down is the individual team usually brings you in and works you out and makes an assessment about where you are and what you're bringing to the table. That's not what's taking place here. This is league organized. Obviously, anywhere from 10 to 15 teams are expected and anticipated to show up. The only time you see something like this being conducted by the league is for the NFL scouting combine. It certainly isn't applicable to an NFL free agent who happens to be a veteran with 6 seasons in the National Football League, although he's been away for the last 3. This is what the situation is with Colin Kaepernick. Now, to me, the name that comes to my mind is Jay-Z and Rock Nation. Why? Because Jay-Z meets with Commissioner Roger Goodell. At that particular moment in time, he's excoriated all of a sudden Hove, who everybody loved. A whole bunch of folks turned against him, accusing him of selling out, turning in his black card and all of this ridiculous nonsense. And what did he say? He said, listen, folks are going to work behind the scenes. Called the NFL office, called the Players Association, spoke to a whole bunch of people, Kaepernick side, Rock Nation, the list goes on and on. Clearly, there appears to be a collective effort that has taken place to include these teams with league participation and league approval, obviously. So it appears to be something very, very serious. And the only thing that can get in the way of Colin Kaepernick being back in the NFL is if he refuses to shut up and he goes out there and shows that he can't play. Now, just weeks ago, I saw Colin Kaepernick. Where I saw him at is none of y'all business. Here's what y'all need to know. He looked pretty damn good. He looked in tremendous shape, okay? He looked ready to go. All of this noise about how he's been working out hours upon hours every single day, all true, because he looked it. He looks like he is in phenomenal shape and ready to go. So really what this comes down to is I don't expect him to show up Saturday and to have forgotten how to throw a football, certainly to have forgotten how to run with a football, particularly when you watch guys like Lamar Jackson doing what he does with his feet, okay? You fantasize about what Colin Kaepernick can do because you saw him do it, which means to me that they're interviewing, because they did say they're going to interview him. Clearly, the interview is not going to be about salary, Max. He ain't getting any more than a minimum. He's an unrestricted free agent, hasn't played in the NFL. I've been told this morning the league minimum is around $800,000 plus. You prorated over the course of 17 games. There's 7 weeks left in the season. You're talking about anywhere from $350,000 to $375,000 that he's going to get. It's non-negotiable. So the money, the salary, is not a negotiable issue. The issue is going to be where you at. What's your mentality? You ready to play football and focus on that? That's what this interview is going to be about. We'll see what happens.
When I first heard this news, it was so bizarre, and it was even presented in such bizarre language, I didn't even understand what people meant. Wait a minute. Did Kaepernick's people set this up? It was seemed intentionally left vague.
Nope.
Did teams set this up? Oh, no, wait a minute. The NFL set this up. But that's not the business of the NFL to set it up. In fact, Goodell, when he was asked about this in the past, said these kind of decisions are up to the individual clubs. Okay, so I start to think, what could this really be about? Bizarre. You know, coaches, GMs getting ready for the game on Sunday. It's on a Saturday. This doesn't make any sense. Why would you work them out then? Why were his people told, no, it's got to be this. It can't be pushed off. It must be on this date. Why don't they have a list of, why is there no knowledge of who's going to be there? So I thought to myself, okay, here's some scenarios. One, there's an owner out there and a GM, obvious front office, that wants to do this but needs cover with their fan base because it's still considered a polarizing issue for some stupid reason. And so they need cover, so they're doing this whole thing. Two, that's unlikely. More likely than that, my mind went to Jay-Z also, Stephen A., that maybe he is trying to broker something here. And that may be true, but I think my third thought is actually what is probably going on, in spite of what people may be saying or what maybe even Jay-Z is being told. I don't know. My suspicion is that there is some huge, for something like this to happen, for the NFL to leak it to the national press a day ahead of time, that's not the way normally this stuff goes down. There must be some enormous piece of business behind all of this. And maybe the CBA coming right up, right? It's looming. Some enormous piece of business, maybe a lawsuit that they're afraid of, but it has the smell to me, Stephen A., of legal butt covering by the NFL. It may be that there are also people behind the scenes trying to broker something, but I would be very surprised if, in fact, it turns out that within a week, if Kaepernick doesn't say anything, he is actually on an NFL roster. I'd be happily surprised, but surprised nonetheless.
Here's what everybody needs to understand. Colin Kaepernick filed a grievance. The grievance was settled. So the reality is that, combined with everybody in the NFL talking about Patrick Mahomes to Lamar Jackson to Deshaun Watson to Seattle, San Francisco, et cetera, folks are focused on football. The NFL did not have to, at this particular moment in time, make this move to have this workout. A couple of teams, from what I was told, called the league office to legitimately inquire about Colin Kaepernick.
So why wouldn't they just hold a
Obviously, one
workout?
has to surmise. I'm saying because you need cover. If Colin Kaepernick comes out there and we don't, stay with me, all right? I'm telling you what I've been told. I'm not speaking about my opinion. I'm giving you information. If Colin Kaepernick would have come on the field Saturday and play like straight garbage, but an individual team worked him out and didn't sign him on, particularly if that workout isn't exposed to the media, isn't a public workout, then if you don't bring him on board, then you're being accused of exactly what Max Kellerman and others have alluded to. It's just, you didn't have any real intention of bringing him on board. I'm not saying that's legitimate. I'm saying that's an individual team's concern. So the NFL basically provides them cover, because you don't know what teams are showing up. You don't know what teams are coming to look at him. You don't know who specifically is looking to take on his services. But you have the NFL shield as cover to insulate you from the shrapnel of criticism in the event that you may elect not to want Colin Kaepernick. That's why the league is conducting the workout, so the individual teams don't have to worry about the heat coming their way.
That was my first thought, as I said. And my next went to Jay-Z. I could read between the lines there. I've also spoken to people, and after speaking to them, Stephen A., the stuff that didn't sit right with me was answered more thoroughly, which is it seems as though there are too many legal maneuverings here, and too odd a process here for it to be anything other than legal butt covering. If it is, and time will tell shortly, if you're saying within a week, that would be a very happy circumstance.
Okay, we have to leave it there. We're going to have much more on this. Max said he'd be very surprised if we saw Colin Kaepernick in a uniform. Stephen A., we do have to go to break, but I want to get a yes or no answer from you. Do you honestly believe it's a possibility we could see Colin in a uniform, NFL, this season?
Yes.
Okay. Much more on this to come. The latest college football rankings are out. Should Bama be happy with the ranking after their first loss of the season? Paul Feinbaum will be here with all of it. And PG-13 is back this week, and LA's Fantastic Four is now complete. But does PG-13's return give the Clips enough to take down the Lake Show? Much more on Colin Kaepernick. Will the latest news lead to more disappointment for the controversial quarterback?